Welcome to the quick hitter version of the Mike Wise Show from Pure Hoops Media, people. Our featured conversation this week is with Jeanie Buss, the boss of the 2020 NBA champion Los Angeles Lakers. And she went into some personal losses that date back to December of 2019. You're going to have to hear it. Everybody always talks about your father, your mother, Joan. I don't know anything about her. Could you just say, you don't have to give us I don't want the Cliff Notes seems too trite, but you know, I feel like she deserves some credit here. I mean, she brought you into the world, darn it.
She passed away in December.
Just this past December.
Yes.
And I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I mean, and I'm glad that you brought her up because it's like going through, this was a very painful time period for me. I lost my mother in mid-December. I lost David Stern right after the new year. And then we lost Kobe Bryant shortly afterwards. And it seemed such a heavy burden of, how am I going to handle this and losing, these important people in my life. And, what I talked about was how Laker Nation was, we came together like in periods of mourning and grief. You have to have community. You have to have people that you can lean on, because otherwise you feel alone and isolated. And when Kobe passed, he was a source of strength for me. One of the last conversations we had was he called me because my mother had passed away and he had heard she passed away and he wanted to check in on me. This was a person who I loved dearly and I thought I would have the rest of my life as in terms of a sounding board for the Lakers and just things that were going on. And he, we asked the league, the night before he passed away, LeBron broke one of his records and Kobe called him to congratulate him on passing his record. And, we just had there's great synergy of Rob Pelinka as running our front office was Kobe's best friend. And that we just had this like strong group of people connected. And so I asked the league, can we please not play the next game? We need time. Like the players it's really taking a toll emotionally on our players, on our staff. And, and we were scheduled to play the Clippers, and the Clippers graciously agreed, to postpone the game because we were in this state. And, when we did finally come back and play, LeBron made a speech where he said to Laker Nation, like, I'm strong, lean on me, I've got broad shoulders. And that's what we did. Laker Nation leaned on LeBron to lead us in this grieving process. And it kind of became this, this part of this season of keeping Kobe close to our hearts. And, it was something that happened organically. Some people said, well, how did the organization tell the team to, when Anthony Davis made that game-winning shot and said, Kobe's name when he made it. I mean, that's organic. That comes from your heart. That isn't a marketing thing. That's real, and that's humanity, and that's people caring for each other in the time of grief and sorrow. And that's what gets us through it. That's the only way you get through it, is through that community and leaning on each other when we're sad.
I'm not crying because I love David Stern. I think he was a great commissioner, and I was very sad. And I went to his memorial service. And I didn't get, even though I knew Kobe more peripherally through the job than anything, even though we had some real private moments, I didn't know him like certainly you did and others. And I didn't cry until my son, 10, came up to me and it was like a week later and we were watching this Kobe tribute and he goes, "Dad, you know what's the saddest?" And he goes, "Kobe's daughters aren't going to get to see him grow older." And I like lost it. I lost it because, it doesn't matter if you have a dog, a child, like those are your babies. And you realize that those things pain. I probably should know this, but where were you when you got the news and how devastating was it? And by the way, I'm crying for you because it's a lot of loss.
It's
Your
some
mom,
days
a person that was a father figure to you, not just business wise, but personally, and this guy who sort of been part of your life in so many ways. It's sort of like, he's not the player anymore. He's this fully developed human being that's got so much to offer.
And I mean, it like some days you just felt like how am I going to get out of bed? Mm-hmm. And basketball felt normal because again, like the community and sharing that love and knowing that we will protect the Bryant family, that we love Vanessa and Kobe's daughters, and that, the loss of Gianna is devastating on so many levels. When there was a day after Kobe retired, we planned to have lunch, and Linda Rambis and I, drove to Orange County to meet him, and he brought Gianna with him because he wanted Gianna to, see strong women in business. But I think he also knew that I was feeling down and feeling lost. I hadn't made the change with my brother. And I think he wanted to cheer me up, and he wanted to show me, like, you're inspiring my daughter, and my daughter's going to inspire you to be the best you can be. And that is the message that I know what Kobe meant to me, but I didn't know how generous he was with his time, with other athletes from not just basketball, but every sport. Like when now I'm like blanking on her name, won the US Open. She talked about, Kobe was her inspiration, and she wore a Kobe jersey in her post-game interviews. And she talked about, meeting him and she said, "Someday I want to be as great as you." And Kobe said, "No, you're going to be better."
Yeah. And Naomi Osaka.
Yeah, Naomi Osaka. Sorry.
I mean, what a special woman she is.
And right, and that, I had no idea that they had that connection until she talked about it, and just hearing, football players with the Eagles and soccer players in Europe, and that how he touched people. I know that legacy will never go away. Like, we will protect the family, we will love his children, and we will, protect what Kobe stood for. And that's how we get through this pain, because it's painful and it's sad.
There were so many people that, Kobe's complicated legacy. I don't know if it was that complicated in the end. I think it was very simple. Here was a guy who made an awful decision once and never made that decision again, and really strove to be a better dad, be a better husband, be a better player. And another thing that got me, I got emotional, was when, having written Shaquille O'Neal's second autobiography of 3. By the way, I don't know any 50-year-old man who has 3 autobiographies. God bless you, Shaq. But that was during the time 2000 when we were writing that, when he loved Kobe the player, he hated him as a person. and they didn't get past that till later. When I saw Kobe Bryant calling Sharif O'Neal, Shaquille's son, who had a heart condition, was unsure that he was ever going to play again and had to switch college, all these things that happened to him. When I saw Kobe checking in on him all days and Sharif sharing the text, it just, man, here's this guy, like he really loved Shaquille O'Neal's son, a person who was really, even though they got past that, they became friends, they were really rivals in time on the same team for a while. And I don't know, man, it just, all of that together. If you'd like to hear more from Jeanie Buss, check out the full version of the Mike Wise Show from Pure Hoops Media. And you can also see the video version of the Mike Wise Quick Hitter on the Pure Hoops Media, and hopefully the whole interview on our YouTube channel.